So ladies and gentlemen, buckle up for this one because we have a lot to talk about and it's straight clown world stuff. It really is. Look, people within the UK and perhaps other countries across the world who keep up with stuff going on in England, etc., will know how woke the National Health Service, the NHS, has become. They have heavily embraced all the ideology. It is so backwards and are getting exposed for it all the time in the news. And the first story I'm going to be covering is all about NHS chiefs facing legal action after 26 nurses protested being forced to share a changing room with a trans colleague, a dude. But remember, this stuff never happens, right? The Daily Mail report, NHS chiefs face legal action after 26 female nurses protested being forced to share women's changing room with a transgender colleague. Man. NHS chiefs are facing landmark legal action after 26 female hospital nurses protested about being forced to share a women's changing room with a transgender colleague who is biologically male. The women complained that the transgender nurse, who has not had gender reassignment surgery, I mean, it doesn't really matter if they have or not because they're still a male, had taken a keen interest in female staff when they were getting undressed. But it never happens, right? Never happens. They say they have found the situation intimidating and upsetting. In a formal complaint, the nurses say they were stunned after the active trans nurse admitted to trying for a baby with a female partner and had stopped taking female hormones. But a human resources manager at the hospital trust allegedly said that the female nurses need to be more inclusive, broaden their mindset and be educated and attend training. Hold on a second here. We have women here who feel uncomfortable, unsafe, intimidated because they have a guy walking around the locker room and apparently has taken a keen interest in female staff, yet it's the women who have to be more inclusive, broaden their mindset, and be educated and attend training. Attend training for what? Attend training to be more inclusive, attend training to accept delusion. You're sending the message, you're telling these women that they're in the wrong for having an issue with a guy in their changing room. Make it make sense. 6 of the nurses are taking legal action at an employment tribunal against the NHS Trust in the Northeast for alleged harassment and discrimination in what is thought to be the first of its kind. And let's be real here, it probably won't be the last one either. One of the nurses told the Mail on Sunday, "We don't feel safe because we strip down to our underwear and the individual doesn't just stay by his locker, he walks around the changing room in his boxer shorts." Well, apparently it doesn't matter if you feel unsafe according to some people in charge here, because you must be more inclusive. You must broaden your mindset. It's you that is a problem, that has an issue with a guy walking around in his boxers in your changing room and he's taken a keen interest to female staff. And it does get worse. Another nurse said she was close to tears during one incident in the changing room. She said, "I was rummaging in my bag trying to find my lanyard and keys for the locker when a man's voice behind me said, 'Are you not getting changed yet?' I found my keys and opened my locker and I was asked again, 'Are you not getting changed yet?'" The woman, who was abused as a child, has post-traumatic stress disorder and struggles to be alone around men. She said, "He stood there 2 meters away from me with a scrub top on and tight black boxer shorts with holes in them and asked a third time whether I was getting changed yet. Flight or fight mode kicked in, but I felt glued to my seat. I could not move. My hands started to sweat. I was petrified and felt sick and began hyperventilating." And yet, these woke activists, the people in charge here, will still say these women are the problem. This is something they don't talk about, and it's something they refuse to address, right? Whenever they advocate for men being in women's locker rooms, they don't talk about the women who have gone through terrible situations in the past with men and how they're going to feel with a guy in their locker room. Yet they always talk about female safety, don't they? They always talk about how women need to feel safe. They talk about women's privacy. But when it comes to a guy identifying as a woman, right, that goes out the window. And it doesn't matter if a woman has gone through terrible things in the past, because you must accept it. Just imagine any woke liberal watching right now, because I know you watch my videos. Imagine this woman being your sister, your daughter, your mother. How would you feel? Yeah. That's what I thought. In March, 26 nurses wrote to management saying that the transgender nurse has made no secret of the fact that he has stopped taking female hormones and is trying to inseminate his female partner. They added, "We do not consider it appropriate to have a The active biological males sharing our changing facilities. They did not receive a written response, but say there was an impromptu meeting at which an HR manager told the ward manager the female nurses need to compromise. I don't even know what I'm reading here. The HR manager told them to be more inclusive, broaden their mindset, and be educated and attend training, according to a second complaint letter sent by nurses in April. Wow. There has been controversy in the NHS during recent years over its provision of single-sex wards and the safety of patients. National NHS staff policy allows its workforce to identify in the opposite gender and access single-sex facilities of their choosing, and that alternative arrangements must be provided if this is deemed inappropriate. Yeah, we're living in the clown world. The transgender nurse at the hospital has continued to be allowed access to the female changing room, which is open plan and has no separate changing cubicles. The room is accessed by a key code given to staff. So with this story, you can see the position we're in with the NHS. I mean, even this one here, anger at NHS guidance that lets patients who temporarily identify as female share single-sex NHS spaces. So you, as a patient, can essentially identify as a woman very briefly if you're a dude, and then go into single-sex NHS spaces. Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts down below on this one, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to the next insane story. This is not fair on the women. They should not be going through this just to accommodate woke agendas. And yet the conservative government in this country will say, oh, we're going to crack down on things like this. No, it has grown underneath your government and you're not doing enough. You're not doing anything. But on to the next one. And I have no words. NHS staff ordered to apologise for using wrong pronouns and should not confront patients using single-sex facilities. Like, am I in a dream state right now? Am I in a nightmare or something? Somebody wake me up. Senior management at Lewisham and Greenwich NHS Trust told staff to commit to trying harder if they make mistakes in front of patients. Staff at an NHS trust must accept patients' choice of pronouns and should not confront those who use single-sex facilities regardless of their appearance. Yep, accept everything, force compliance in this country. Bosses at Lewisham and Greenwich NHS Trust approved of the 18-page document that obliges staff to comply or be damned, campaigners have warned. The guidance, which came into effect in February last year, told employees they should commit to trying harder if they make mistakes in front of patients. Staff must apologise to patients if they misgender them, according to the Daily Mail, who saw the document. So you have to apologise for misgendering. You have to try harder. You have to use the right pronouns. It's always the people based in truth, reality, common sense that must suffer here. Everybody must compromise for delusion. Everybody must accommodate lunacy. And if you don't, you get into trouble. I tell you now, we are getting so close to Canada. We really are. And when Labour get in, because they will, yeah, you might as well start calling this place Canada. Other sections of the document read, patients may need to be screened for risks linked to their psychological needs based on what organs are present rather than the patient's birth or acquired gender. Trans men and non-binary individuals can become pregnant and should be treated with dignity while using maternity services. If it is impossible to ask the view of the person because they are unconscious or incapacitated, then in the first instance, inferences should be drawn from presentation and mode of dress. So if a dude is dressed up as a woman, unconscious, he's still a woman apparently. What? Victoria Atkins, the Health Secretary, has condemned the document, stating the NHS staff must be able to carry out their duties without tiptoeing around trans guidance. Yeah, you can complain about it all you want, but why is nobody changing things? Why is nobody taking positive action here? It's all just words with these people. It really is. Oh yes, we don't agree with this. NHS staff must be able to do X, Y, Z. Yet they never change it. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The state of our NHS. The state of the UK. NHS staff ordered to apologise for using wrong pronouns and should not confront patients using single-sex facilities. And then NHS chiefs face legal action after 26 female nurses protested being forced to share women's changing room with a trans colleague. You know, it is so sad to see the UK, the NHS, head down this route. And I just hope things can get better. I really do. But I think they have to get worse before they get better. And you know, until somebody with a spine within government makes changes to this, it's just going to get worse. And with Labour getting in, again, they're most likely to get in. How can things get any better when 90% of the people who vote for them, 90% of the politicians within Labour agree with woke insanity? Yeah, it's not looking good. Leave your thoughts down below, ladies and gentlemen, on what was discussed here. What are your thoughts on everything? I'd like to know. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Comment on this video, share this video. But until next time, it has been your boy JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.